2010 was a dark year for Power Rangers. Disney had lost all hope in the franchise. They had just acquired Marvel and didn't really need Power Rangers anymore. Jetix and Toon Disney was now Disney XD. No Power Rangers programming was seen on the network. So, what was left? Reairing a 17-year-old series on Saturday morning. This is the story of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the 2010 Reversion. No one really likes this season. But I'm gonna talk about it anyways. Roll the intro. Yo, what's up everybody? It's Este here. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's right, I'm gonna talk about nostalgia that I can't even talk about. This is my Morpher. Check it out. It's really cool. Have you seen the video where I did it at the beach? Remember that video? Cool video. But today we're talking about not Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the original version. We're talking about the 2010 version of Power Rangers that no one really likes or talks about anymore. And I'm curious, why did no one talk about it or remember its existence? There's a few reasons why I'm gonna get to in today's video, but hey, like, comment, and subscribe. With 250 likes, subscribe, ring the notification bell. This is cool. Let's talk about it. Now, by 2009, Disney had already lost interest for Power Rangers for a fat minute now. Power Ranger RPM was set to be the last series of Power Rangers at all time, and everybody was ready for it. We were ready for it to end. There were also talks of an animated Power Ranger series. That never happened. I made a video about it. Check it out. Shameless plug, we know. But really, the only reason they did RPM because they had contracts with ABC stations around the country, which of course had ABC Kids, the Saturday morning block, which really just aired Disney Channel programming. The only new programming that wasn't from 2006 was Power Rangers. And the light is gone in the room. So really, that's really the only reason they did RPM. And also Bandai, which Bandai makes the toys until recently. Now it's Hasbro. But Bandai used to make toys. Not the best toys, they were toys. But contracts were still going, baby, with those ABC stations and Bandai, and Power Rangers had to have a season out there. Disney had to do something with it. So instead of making a whole new season and adapting Shinkenger, the Samurai Sentai, they released a 17-year-old show in 2010. Let's keep that in mind. This is a new decade here. Power Rangers was almost 2 decades old. But Disney was like, screw it. It's on the air, baby. So they released the remastered version of their famous show that started it all, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, this remastered version of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers started airing on January 2nd, 2010, and ran up to August 28th, 2010. Now, this reversion, remaster, whatever you want to call it, is a broadcast of the first 32 episodes in production order of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1. Which, if you remembered, was broadcasted in 1993, the 90s, when they had weird trends going on. We're not going to talk about that. But hey, BVS Entertainment, Buena Vista Studios Entertainment, whatever, the people that make Power Rangers happen at the time at Disney were in charge of making the new season. It's cool Red Rangers from Burger King. I don't know. I got it as a gift. If you remember 2010 was also the year where Haim Saban brought back Power Rangers under his name, under the new company Saban Brands, and later that year, a month after MMPR 2010 stopped airing, we got a promo for the new Power Rangers Samurai. But for these 8 months, baby, almost 9, we had to deal with this 2010 Power Rangers reversion. A weird thing about this season also is that it was considered at the time when Saban bought it the 18th season of Power Rangers. It was considered an actual season when it really wasn't a new season. This, however, was changed when Power Rangers Megaforce started airing, and because it was being promoted as the 20th season of Power Rangers. So MMPR 2010 was now considered an extra season, not really essential to the franchise, which it is not, obviously, essential. And this show was weird at the time also because on ABC Kids, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Power Rangers General was airing at 12 p.m. But for some stations, like the station I was watching, it aired at 5 in the morning. No one was going to wake up that early to watch Power Rangers at 5 in the morning. The reason they put it at 5 in the morning, because of action, martial arts scenes. Power Ranger was too violent to be put on TV, so they put it much earlier because they had to air it. I'll talk about those martial arts later in the episode. This is an episode? Whoa. Nothing in the show was new. They had a new logo, which looked pretty all right. They had a new intro, which also looked pretty nice for the time, and some new special effects we'll be getting into later. Bandai was also in charge of making the toy line and merchandise for the show, so we got some pretty cool toys out of it, some cool figures, a cool Megazord, and some other cool figures. We also had a Titanus, and we had Mix and Morph. Who doesn't remember Mix and Morph? The promo was so cool. Like, Mix and Morph, Mix and Morph, building heroes, powerful Zords. That was cool because they had like different seasons being represented in the Mix and Morph. So you can mix like a Mystic Force arm with an Operation Legs. It was weird, but it was cool. I liked it. And they had like a Green Ranger Morpher base, which people were like, oh my God, it's a Morpher, but it wasn't. It was just a Mix and Morph base. It was weird. Those were weird times. Fans were excited when MMPR 2010 was announced. We got that announcement because basically new toys were just coming up in like the areas of Walmart and Kmart and Toys R Us. And then we also had the RPM demo disc, if you remember, one of the rarest Power Ranger DVDs ever. I talked about it in a video. It had a promo, a toy promo for MMPR 2010. But it was weird because they would show the MMPR toys would be like the same size RPM when they were like much, much smaller, as we've seen in real life. So, but you know, people were excited. People were like, yo, this is going to be rebranded. People were nostalgic at MMPR. Of course, people are going to feel nostalgic about it. So when they hear remaster, they think, oh, is it going to be HD? Because this was the time of HD. So were the show's going to be in HD, high definition? Was the colors going to be corrected? Was the show going to be much cleaner? Questions were in the air. Questions were out there. As we didn't know, those didn't happen. This season was one of the worst of all time. Not really worse, pointless. Let's get to it. Now, these new effects would range from a few different types. There'd be like aura when they would teleport, lines around the screen, walls breaking, stuff like that. Some really cool, simple visual effects. Some cool and really made the show better, but some, not so much. There was also these backgrounds which were very anime-like. Anime, Japanese-like. This is Power Rangers. It's a live-action show. Like, you can't put a cartoon formula in a live-action show unless you're out of Jimmy's head. Remember that show from Cartoon Network? Anyone out of Jimmy's head? And Jimmy's head? No, just me? Okay. So we had those anime backgrounds, right? But then we also had Batman-like sound bubbles and effects when someone was hit, like the pow, boom, pang, toon, ting, tang, tang, stuff like that. Very Batman 60s-esque like stuff, which was also weird, but Power Rangers is comic-like. They have comics, so might as well. We also had a lot of freeze frames, like comic book like freeze frames. This show was weird. This reversion was very weird. Did I tell you that? Were you in the know about that yet? Scenes were also enhanced with Japanese text. They had different types of colors around the screen, clouds and hearts and bad faces and mean faces and all type of stuff that would quote-unquote enhance the show, which really would just distract us from the real action. And my coin's upside down. It fell! And since there were additions to the show, you might guessed it, stuff was also cut. Stuff was actually censored in the show. Dialogue was also cut. Dialogue we don't get, but censorship of the fights, yes we do, because this is 2010, different times. Soccer moms were being more strict, and so if they saw some type of martial arts that Power Rangers were having were hitting in their face, then we're going to call the FCC and just take it all down. So stuff was censored by those text fonts of comic book like fonts and just random special effects just to try to censor these fights, because if they were those fights to air today on TV, moms would go insane, because at the time Power Rangers was considered violent in 1993. Imagine in 2010 it would have been 10 times more violent. Even though we have those Marvel movies that are PG-13, those are fine, but Power Rangers, no. With all these cuts and censorship, they had to add these special effects and pauses and tons of other stuff like character profiles, scenes from other episodes, and teases of future episodes. They would even also add the Today in Power Rangers, because they just had to add so much time for all they were censoring and taking out. There were also dance-offs with different characters in the show. Like, you know, Zach would do his dance or whatever. They put that part of the show. Actual dance-offs. Power Rangers 2010, look it up. It's on Netflix. Another thing, the ABC Kids program made it look like Rita Repulsa was going to go back in time to 1993 and destroy the first team of Power Rangers. So it made it look like this show was going to be a little bit different. You know, maybe just reuse some clips and put them all together and make a new show. No, it was the exact same show, 32 episodes, production order. Weird, it's very weird. The show wasn't changed enough to be considered new. No HD. The episodes look either similar or exactly the same as their 1993 counterpart. And the effects were just really distracting from the audience. The show overall just looked dated. In 2010, we had films like Iron Man 2, Harry Potter, The Deathly Hallows. So there's stuff out there with better special effects than having MMPR being released again in 2010 with comic book effects. No. The new logo intro effects were not enough to please fans. The only thing that were pleasing fans at the time was the toy line. We had that Megazord, which introduced Zord Builder, which ran up to Super Ninja Steel, where all your Zords can combine together. They also had a Mix and Morph. Who couldn't forget Mix and Morph? Mix and Morph. Mix and Morph. That commercial aired all the time back then. If you were 2010, you're watching TV, you saw a Mix and Morph commercial. I swear. There's also a green Dragon Dagger lightsaber. I gotta get my hands on one of those. I gotta do a video on the Green Ranger Dragon Dagger lightsaber thing. I gotta talk about that. Now that Star Wars, Disney, I don't know. Also, what was weird was that they didn't remaster all 60 episodes of MMPR. We only had 32 episodes, and it turns out those were all that were ordered, 32 episodes. Only a small team of people was on the show, 5 people. A producer, 2 graphics guys, an editor, and a music guy to change the music tracks of the show. So, just a very small team of people just to do this one show, which probably wasn't going to get a lot of money, actually. The producer of the show, Dan Evans, was also hated by the community on Twitter for basically ruining Power Rangers MMPR for anyone else, basically making it like inferior, a bad show by adding all these distracting effects. So people just hated him. They hated everybody. But then when Saban brought it back, people didn't really care. Everyone was just waiting for Samurai to come out, and people just didn't care. We just didn't even watch MMPR 2010. Like, which Power Rangers fan actually watched MMPR 10 when it came out? Like, all 32 episodes. If you did, I gotta give you a medal of honor. How did you do that? But that's about it. We never really got the rest of season 1. Not even the thought of a season 2 or 3 remaster. Even though we had a White Ranger figure and a Lord Zed figure from Bandai, which was weird because they didn't appear in season 1. I don't know, whatever. Now we just have these 32 episode mess that's on Netflix. You can still watch this on Netflix. And when you go to MMPR at season 1, 2, 3, season 1 Reversion, you can watch it on Netflix. And people really ignore it because of its bad reputation and its bad special effects, which I can't blame you. Who would want to watch the show? It was inferior to the original version, and even besides all these small, cool little special effects they would add to that some people thought was cool, it wasn't enough to please an audience of people and make everybody watch MMPR 2010 because it was so different. Because it wasn't different. It was the same, just little tiny edits. The only cool thing about this show was a montage they had at the end of episode 32 because they had to fill 90 seconds of the show. They had a montage of all 32 production order episodes of the time, and that was really cool. We saw the 6 Rangers, and we saw the monsters, and it was a really cool montage that really just showed how cool MMPR was in those first 32 episodes. But other than that, show sucked. It was pointless, worthless, not even worth my time. But you know what? My time's over. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Have you seen MMPR 2010? What do you think of it? Did you like it? If you do, tell me one in the comments below. I'm Este the Gamer, and I'll see you next week for another video. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm Don Fuego, Don Fuego on Twitter. Not Don Fuego on Instagram. I'm Este the Gamer. Not really. I'm just Este. Just call me Este. Have a great day. And of course, and as always, like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and stay awesome, everybody. It's morphin' time. Tyrannosaurus!